I know how heavy this moment has been for you. The quiet weight you carry when no one is looking, the exhaustion that doesn't come from your body, but from everything you've been holding inside, the nights where your thoughts won't let you rest, and the days where you keep going even when something in you feels like it's fading. I have seen every silent tear, every breath you tried to steady, every time you told yourself to endure just a little longer. And I'm telling you now, this is not a coincidence. You did not find this by accident, because I have been trying to reach you in ways you didn't recognize, whispering through moments you ignored, touching places in your heart you thought were already numb. And right now, in this exact moment as you hear this, I am breaking through that silence. I am entering that space you thought was forgotten. I am touching what has been hurting in secret, because there is something I need you to know. What you are feeling is not the end of your strength. It is the beginning of my movement in your life. And I am already shifting what has been resisting you, already aligning what seemed stuck, already preparing an answer that is closer than you think. Stay here with me. Don't turn away now, because this moment is sacred. And if you feel even a small stirring inside your chest, that is not emotion. That is me confirming that I have reached you. So respond with faith, my child. Write, "I receive this," in the comments as a sign that you are no longer ignoring my voice. Subscribe and turn on notifications as an act of staying connected to what I'm revealing to you from this moment forward. Like this message as a declaration that you recognize my hand moving in your life, and share it with someone who is also waiting in silence, because what I am doing right now is not random. It is a call, and you are answering it. I saw how you kept going even when something inside you was already tired beyond words, and you didn't even know how to explain it to anyone, because it wasn't just one problem. It was a quiet accumulation of everything you endured in silence, like a pressure building behind your chest that never truly released. And even when you smiled, there was a part of you that felt distant from your own life, like you were present but not fully alive, carrying responsibilities, memories, disappointments, and unanswered prayers all at once. And I know how many times you questioned if anyone truly understood what you were feeling, because even you struggled to put it into words. And yet you kept going, not because it was easy, but because you didn't see another option. And in that persistence, in that quiet endurance, I was there watching every step you took when no one else noticed, hearing the thoughts you never spoke, feeling the heaviness you tried to hide even from yourself. And today, I am not coming to judge that exhaustion. I am coming to recognize it, to name it, to show you that what you have been feeling is not weakness. It is the result of carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. And right now, as you are listening, I am placing my presence exactly where that weight has been sitting for so long, not to rush you, not to overwhelm you, but to begin something gentle and real, something that does not force you to pretend you are okay, but allows you to finally breathe again, because this moment is not about you proving strength anymore. It is about you being seen, truly seen, and that changes everything. There were moments when you felt surrounded by people and yet deeply alone, a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from absence but from disconnection, from feeling like no one truly reaches the place inside you where everything is happening, and you learn to live with that, to function through it, to speak and respond and fulfill expectations, while a quiet emptiness stayed hidden behind your words. And I know how that kind of loneliness slowly reshapes your thoughts, making you question your worth, your place, your importance, even when you don't say it out loud. And sometimes it felt like your voice didn't carry weight, like your presence didn't change anything, like you could disappear emotionally, and the world would keep moving the same way. And that thought, even if you tried to reject it, left a mark on your spirit. And yet you stayed. You remained present. You continued showing up, even when your own heart felt distant from you, and I want you to understand something. Now, I was in those moments of silence, not distant, not absent, but closer than you realized, watching the way you held yourself together when you felt like breaking. And that loneliness you experienced was not ignored by me. It was seen, it was felt. And now I am entering that exact space, not to remind you of what hurt, but to restore what was lost there, because you were never invisible to me, not even for a second. You have carried burdens that were never fully yours to carry, responsibilities that slowly became part of your identity, expectations that you absorbed without realizing how much they were costing you. And over time, you became the one who endures, the one who supports, the one who holds things together even when no one asked if you were okay. And I know how that role shaped you, how it made you strong in ways that others admire, but also tired in ways no one sees, because strength, when it is constant, becomes a quiet weight, something you stop questioning and just accept, even when it starts to take more from you than it gives. And there were times when you wanted to rest, not just physically, but deeply, emotionally, spiritually, to release everything for a moment and just exist without pressure. But you didn't allow yourself that space because you felt needed, because you believed stopping would make things fall apart. And I have seen that. Every moment you chose to keep going instead of pausing, every time you carried more than you should have. And now I am telling you, you don't have to hold everything together alone anymore, because I am stepping into that place where you have been standing for so long, and I am taking what has been weighing you down. Not all at once in a way that overwhelms you, but in a way that allows you to finally feel relief without fear. There is a kind of anxiety that doesn't come from a single thought, but from a constant undercurrent, a subtle tension that never fully disappears, like something is always about to go wrong, like you are always preparing for something you cannot see, but somehow feel. And this has been exhausting you in ways that are hard to explain, because it's not always loud, it's not always visible, but it is always there, shaping how you think, how you react, how you anticipate the future. And I know how many times you tried to silence it, to distract yourself, to convince yourself that everything is fine, but that feeling kept returning. Not because you are weak, but because you have been carrying unresolved weight for too long. And your mind has been trying to protect you in the only way it knows, by staying alert, by staying ready, even when there is no immediate danger. And I am not ignoring that anxiety. I am stepping into it, into that constant tension, and I am calming what has been restless inside you, not by forcing silence, but by bringing a presence that reassures, that stabilizes, that reminds you that you are not alone in what you are facing. And right now, even if you don't fully feel it yet, something inside you is beginning to settle, to soften, to breathe differently. I know the weight of the things you regret, the moments you wish had been different, the words you wish you had said or not said, the decisions that still echo in your mind when everything else is quiet. And even when you tried to move forward, those memories stayed with you, not always in a painful way, but in a way that made you question yourself, your judgment, your worth. And sometimes you carried guilt that no one else placed on you, but that you placed on yourself. Silently, repeatedly, as if holding on to it would somehow make things right. And I have seen that burden, the way it shaped your thoughts, the way it made you hesitate, the way it made you doubt your own heart. And I am not coming to remind you of your past. I am coming to release you from it, because what you have been holding on to is not serving your healing, it is delaying it. And right now, as you are here, I am lifting that weight from you, not erasing your story, but transforming the way it lives inside you, so that it no longer defines you, so that it no longer controls how you see yourself, because you are not the sum of your past mistakes. You are the continuation of something that is still being shaped, still being restored, still being renewed. There were prayers you whispered that felt like they disappeared into silence. Moments when you reached out, hoping for an answer, hoping for a sign, hoping for something that would reassure you that you were not alone. And when nothing seemed to happen, you didn't stop believing, but something in you became quieter, more cautious, less expectant, as if protecting yourself from disappointment. And I know how that silence affected you, not just spiritually, but emotionally, because you began to question not only if you were being heard, but if what you were asking for even mattered, and yet you kept going, you kept holding on in your own way, even when your faith felt fragile, even when your hope felt thin. And I want you to understand this now. None of those prayers were lost, not a single one. They were heard, they were held, and they are part of what is unfolding right now. Even if the timing did not match your expectations, even if the answers did not come in the form you imagined, because what is happening now is connected to everything you have asked for, everything you have hoped for, and you are closer to that response than you realize. Right now, something is shifting, not in a way that is loud or dramatic, but in a way that is real, subtle, and deeply personal, like a quiet alignment happening beneath the surface. And you may not see immediate changes around you, but something inside you is being repositioned. Something is being adjusted in your spirit, in your perspective, in the way you will begin to experience what comes next. And this is important, because what I am doing is not just about changing your circumstances. It is about preparing you to receive what is coming without fear, without doubt, without the weight that used to hold you back. And even if part of you is still uncertain, still cautious, still wondering if this is real, I am not asking you to force belief. I am asking you to stay, to remain present in this moment, to allow what is happening to unfold naturally. Because the change that is beginning now is not something you have to chase. It is something that is already moving toward you. I'm restoring what you thought was too far gone. Not by returning things exactly as they were, but by creating something that carries peace where there was once tension, clarity where there was confusion, and strength that does not come from pressure, but from stability. And this restoration is not rushed, it is intentional, it is precise, it is aligned with what you truly need, not just what you thought you wanted. And as this unfolds, you will begin to notice small shifts, moments where things feel lighter, clearer, more aligned, and those moments will not be random, they will be confirmations, signs that what I am doing is real, that what I am building in your life is stable, and that you are not walking through this alone anymore. Even if everything around you has not fully changed yet, something within you already has, and that is where everything begins. You are not late, you are not behind, and you have not missed what was meant for you, even if it has felt that way for a long time. Because your journey has not been delayed, it has been shaped, refined through experiences that were not easy, but that prepared you in ways you did not recognize at the time. And now, where you stand, even with all the questions you still have, is exactly where something new can begin. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are ready in a way you were not before, even if you don't fully see it yet. And I am not asking you to have everything figured out. I am asking you to trust that where you are is not an accident, that this moment, this feeling, this encounter is part of something intentional, something that is unfolding step by step, and you are moving within it, whether you realize it or not. And now, as you remain here, as you continue to listen, I want you to let go of the need to understand everything at once, to release the pressure of trying to control what comes next. Because what is being done in your life is not dependent on your ability to figure it out. It is dependent on your willingness to remain open, to allow, to receive what is already being placed before you. And right now, even if it feels small, even if it feels subtle, something is changing, something is opening. Something is being restored, and you are part of that movement, not by force, not by effort, but by simply being here, present, listening, allowing this moment to reach you fully, because this is where it begins, not in noise, not in chaos, but in this quiet, steady, undeniable shift that is already happening within you. I know there are moments when your body is still, but your mind refuses to rest. When you lie down and instead of peace, thoughts begin to gather, one after another, pulling you into places you didn't want to revisit, reminding you of what hasn't been resolved, what hasn't changed, what still feels uncertain. And in those moments, it feels like the night stretches longer than it should, like time slows down just enough for you to feel everything more deeply. And I have been there with you in those hours, not distant, not silent, but present in a way you didn't fully recognize, watching the way your heart tried to calm itself, the way you searched for relief without knowing where to find it. And I am entering those nights now, not to let them continue as they were, but to transform them into something different, into moments where you no longer feel alone inside your own thoughts, because what has been overwhelming you will not continue in the same way. I am bringing stillness where there has been restlessness, and even if it begins quietly, it will grow into something that changes how you experience those hours completely. There were times when you felt like you were waiting for something you couldn't define, a sense that something should have happened by now, that something should have shifted, that something should have changed, and that waiting became heavy, not because you lacked patience, but because you didn't understand the delay. And I know how that kind of waiting slowly wears you down, how it makes you question if you misunderstood, if you hoped too much, if you expected something that was never coming, and yet even in that uncertainty, you did not fully give up. Something in you remained, even if it was small, even if it was quiet. And I'm telling you now that waiting was not empty. It was not wasted. It was part of a process that was preparing what you could not yet see. And now, what felt like delay is beginning to reveal itself as alignment, because what is coming is not late. It is precise. It is arriving at the moment where it can truly take form in your life, without collapsing under what you were not yet ready to carry. You have felt the weight of being responsible for so much, not just in actions, but in emotions, in expectations, in the invisible role you took on without even realizing it, becoming the one who absorbs, who supports, who continues, even when you needed support yourself. And over time, that created a quiet imbalance inside you, where you gave more than you received, where you held more than you released. And I have seen how that affected you, how it slowly drained parts of you that once felt lighter, freer, more at peace. And I am not ignoring that imbalance, I am correcting it, not by taking away your strength, but by restoring your ability to receive, to be supported, to experience moments where you are not the one holding everything together, because you were never meant to live in constant giving without renewal. And now, I am re-establishing that balance in your life in ways that will begin to feel different, even if at first they seem small. There is a fear you have not fully named, a quiet concern that sits beneath your thoughts, not always visible, but present enough to shape how you approach what comes next. A fear of things not working out, of disappointment repeating itself, of putting your hope into something again and having it fall apart. And that fear has made you cautious, sometimes holding back even when you feel the desire to move forward. And I understand that. I have seen where that fear comes from. I have seen the moments that created it, and I am not asking you to ignore it or pretend it doesn't exist. I am entering it, gently, steadily, dissolving its hold over you, not all at once, but in a way that allows you to feel safe again, to trust again, to move again, without that constant tension holding you back, because what is ahead of you is not a repetition of what hurt you before. It is something new, something that will not collapse in the same way. I know you have questioned your own strength, even after everything you have endured. There were moments when you felt like you were reaching your limit, like you couldn't carry one more thing, like if something else went wrong, you wouldn't know how to respond. And yet you kept going, not because you felt strong, but because something in you refused to stop, even when you were tired, even when you were unsure. And I have seen that resilience, not the kind that is loud and visible, but the kind that is quiet and consistent, the kind that endures without recognition. And I am not letting that go unseen. I am building on it, strengthening it in a way that does not exhaust you, but supports you, so that your strength no longer feels like something you have to force, but something that flows naturally from a place of stability and peace. There were moments when you felt disconnected from yourself, like you were moving through your own life without fully feeling it, like something inside you had become distant and you didn't know how to bring it back. And that feeling can be confusing, even unsettling, because it's not something you can easily explain or fix. It just exists quietly, shaping how you experience everything around you. And I have seen that distance. I have seen how it affected your connection with your own emotions, your own thoughts, your own sense of presence. And I am restoring that connection now, not forcing it, not overwhelming you, but gently bringing you back into alignment with yourself, so that you can feel again, not in a way that hurts, but in a way that brings clarity, that brings understanding, that brings you back to a place where you recognize yourself fully again. Right now, something is being realigned in your path, not through force, not through sudden disruption, but through a series of subtle adjustments that are beginning to shift how things unfold around you. And you may not see the full picture yet, but you will begin to notice that certain things no longer feel as heavy, that certain situations no longer affect you in the same way, that certain doors that once felt closed are beginning to show signs of movement. And this is not coincidence. This is part of what is being set into motion for you, something that has been prepared over time, something that is now beginning to take form. And as this continues, you will start to recognize that what once felt stuck is no longer holding you in the same place. I'm bringing clarity where there has been confusion, not by giving you all the answers at once, but by guiding you step by step into a place where things begin to make sense in a way they didn't before. And that clarity will not feel overwhelming. It will feel natural, like something settling into place, like something aligning within you. And as that happens, the uncertainty that once felt heavy will begin to lose its hold, because you will no longer feel like you are moving without direction. You will begin to see where you are going, even if it is only one step at a time. And that is enough, because each step will confirm that you are not lost, that you are being guided, that you are moving within something intentional. You are not alone in this moment, not in your thoughts, not in your feelings, not in what you are facing, even if it has felt that way for a long time, because I am here, present, active, involved in what is unfolding in your life. And I am not stepping away. I'm not leaving you to figure this out on your own. I am walking with you through it, guiding, supporting, restoring. And even if you don't always feel it, even if there are moments when doubt returns, that does not change what is true. And what is true is that you are being held, you are being seen, you are being guided. And that will become more clear to you as you continue forward. And as you stay here, as you continue to listen, something inside you is already changing, even if it is subtle, even if it is quiet, even if you cannot fully explain it, because this is not just something you are hearing, this is something you are experiencing, something that is reaching you beyond words, beyond logic, into a place where real change begins. And that change is not temporary, it is not superficial, it is something that will continue to unfold, to grow, to shape your life in ways you have not yet fully seen. And you are part of that now, in this moment, in this presence, in this shift that has already begun. I know there were days when you felt like something inside you was quietly shutting down, not in a dramatic way, but in a slow and almost unnoticed way, where your reactions became softer, your expectations became lower, and your hope began to protect itself by asking for less. And even you didn't fully realize when that shift happened. You just adapted, you just continued, you just told yourself that this is how things are now. And I saw that moment when you stopped expecting certain things, when you stopped reaching in the same way, Not because you didn't care, but because you were tired of feeling disappointed. And I want you to understand something now, that part of you did not disappear. It only stepped back to survive, and right now, I am gently calling it forward again. Not forcing it, not overwhelming it, but restoring its ability to feel, to believe, to open again without fear, because what is ahead of you is not designed to break you. It is designed to meet you in a way that does not repeat what hurt you before. There were times when you felt like you were doing everything right and still not seeing results, putting in effort, showing up, trying to remain steady. And yet, things didn't move, didn't respond, didn't align. And that created a quiet frustration inside you, not loud enough to express, but strong enough to make you question if what you were doing even mattered. And I know how that kind of experience can slowly drain motivation, can make you feel like your actions are not leading anywhere, like you are walking without direction, even when you are trying your best. And I have seen every effort you made, every step you took, even the ones that felt small or unnoticed, and I am telling you now, none of that was wasted. None of that disappeared. It was building something beneath the surface, something that is now beginning to respond, and what once felt like stillness will begin to show signs of movement, not because you suddenly changed, but because what you have been doing is now reaching the moment where it can take effect. You have carried a quiet sense of responsibility for things that were never fully yours, taking on emotional weight from others, trying to keep peace, trying to avoid conflict, trying to hold situations together that were already fragile, and over time, that created a kind of internal pressure, a feeling that if you let go even a little, something would fall apart, and that made you hold tighter, even when it was costing you your own peace. And I have seen how that pressure affected you, how it shaped your decisions, how it made you stay in situations longer than you should have. And now I am releasing that responsibility from you, not in a way that creates chaos, but in a way that restores balance. Because you were not meant to carry everything. You were not meant to be the one who holds all things together. And as you begin to let go, even slightly, you will notice that things do not collapse the way you feared, because I am present in what you are releasing. There is a part of you that has been waiting for confirmation, for something that tells you clearly that you are on the right path, that you are not wasting your time, that what you are feeling, what you are sensing, what you are hoping for is real, and that lack of confirmation has created doubt, subtle but persistent, making you question yourself even when something inside you feels certain. And I know how that tension feels, being pulled between belief and uncertainty, wanting to trust but also wanting proof. And I am giving you that confirmation now, not in a distant or abstract way, but in this moment, in this presence, in this connection you are feeling. Because this is not random, this is not coincidence. This is a direct response to what you have been asking, even if you did not expect it to come like this. And as you move forward, you will begin to see more confirmations, small at first, but clear, undeniable, aligned with what you have been sensing. You have been stronger than you realize, not in the way that people often define strength, but in the way you continued when it would have been easier to withdraw, in the way you kept your heart open even after being hurt, in the way you chose to keep moving even when you felt uncertain. And that kind of strength is not loud, it is not always visible, but it is real, it is consistent, and it is what has brought you to this moment. And I am not allowing that strength to remain unnoticed. I am building upon it, reinforcing it with peace, with clarity, with support that you did not have before, so that you no longer feel like you are relying only on yourself, because from this moment forward, you are not. There were times when you felt like giving up, not necessarily in a visible way, but in a quiet, internal way, where you questioned if continuing was worth it, if holding on made sense, if things would ever change. And even in those moments, you didn't fully let go. Something in you remained, even if it was small, even if it was fragile. And I have held on to that part of you, even when you felt like it was slipping, and now I am strengthening it, not forcing you to be strong, but allowing you to feel supported, to feel that you don't have to carry everything alone, because what you are facing is not something you are meant to overcome by yourself. And that realization will begin to change how you experience everything moving forward. Right now, something is opening that was previously closed. Not necessarily in a visible way yet, but in a way that will begin to reveal itself through opportunities, through shifts in how things respond to you, through moments where you notice that what once felt blocked is no longer resisting in the same way. And this opening is not random, it is intentional, it is aligned with what has been prepared for you. And as it unfolds, you will begin to recognize that you are no longer standing in the same place. Even if the change feels gradual, it is real, it is happening, and you are moving within it. I'm restoring your sense of direction, not by giving you a complete map, but by guiding your steps in a way that feels natural, that feels aligned, that feels right, even if you cannot fully explain why. And that guidance will become more clear as you continue, because you will begin to notice that certain choices feel lighter, that certain paths feel more open, that certain decisions no longer carry the same confusion, and that is because you are being led, even if you are not fully aware of it yet.